Was it a double damage?
Yeah, it was the DD.
The DD.
I remember Will turned to me and
do
just
smoke.
Yeah.
DD.
They saw the DD.
Yeah, they knew they were.
They knew
they were
smoke.
smoked.
They knew there was
then.
smoke.
They knew there was smoke.
Yeah,
They saw it.
they
on
had
the
ward
radar.
vision. Yeah.
Embarrassing. Embarrassing.
Well, they were positioned very far back. It was,
Yeah, they were their base.
yeah.
All right. We've summed that up nicely. I don't know if anyone. I don't even know if the cameraman saw, or if it's really far away. But I mean, we kind of summed it up. That's game one in a nutshell. We've actually got game two starting now between Secret and CDEC. So hopefully we're going to the bans and picks. What do you kind of feel that Secret should do going into game two? Any kind of strategies or?
Probably pick Envy, a hero he's more comfortable on, I think, or something that just suits him better and their playstyle better. And also, I think put Weeha more on a tempo controller. Put him on the puck.
Yes.
Earth Spirit's going to be banned, otherwise I'd say put him on Earth Spirit. It needs to be more Weeha tempo control, Envy on a just classic Envy carry. Ember Spirit and Anti-Mage, maybe not the best of heroes in the current metagame, but they need something more suitable for him. Juggernaut's maybe a good pick for him.
How sold are you on Tusk Dazzle in general as a support duo? I feel like that duo is not as good now as it used to be. It was like the duo at Frankfurt, right? It was really good, but I just don't feel like they have the same impact as they used to. Neither of the heroes do, and especially not together.
So right, no Earth Spirit for him.
Yep.
But they banned it themselves.
I guess a hero that's just be god tier still, because it's always the team who was second pick banning it, which is kind of what ended up happening at MDL, where the other team at first pick you ban it.
No one wants to play against Earth Spirit, basically.
I mean, the only nerf the hero received was to the Ags, and you don't pick the hero for the Ags. That's just like your late game, like, oh, I have this ridiculous Ags now, but you don't pick it for the late game.
Oh, now my hero also doesn't have any weakness in the late game.
Yeah.
I do think you can play around with considering giving away Earth Spirit if you get a really good trade, including a mid hero that isn't pressured by it super early. Because what makes Earth Spirit really dangerous to play against is that you go mid with Orb of Venom and you just roll in from the fog and you put so much pressure. There are quite a few heroes that can actually deal with that pressure early on. Like the Puck we talked about, you can pick Queen of Pain, a hero that I think might make a little bit of a comeback at this tournament.
I think it's still hard.
If you get a really good trade, you could think about
even as a puck, it's still hard because if he's just going to roll on you. He's not going for the kill necessarily. He's just going to win the mid lane. And if you ever orb to farm, then he goes on you and you do die. So,
yeah, but if that's what you're concerned about, you can do the same. You put a defensive support there, or you pick your Enchantress and you go mid with any creep and just annoy their mid laner, and then.
Sure. So CDEC going to open up with Faceless Void. Same pick as they did last time.
And you can see how Secret is prioritizing on not letting Aggressive have his best hero, Gyro. Like, we talk about Ember being Envy's best hero, but Gyro is Aggressive's best hero. Like, he pioneered the way that how you move with the hero when you get your ultimate up online.
So I'm curious, Blitz. I mean, you've played professionally. I think all of you actually have been professionals in Dota 2. But someone in your team is playing, you know, say that OD, and they say like, "Oh, I'm going to go this item," and you disagree with it. How often do you actually, you know, say something about it? Like, no, don't do that, do this, or do you kind of trust them and you want to allow your team to kind of make their own decisions for how they play their heroes?
I think it's like somebody told me recently, you just have to let your core players do their own thing, because they'll have a different read on the game and a feel. Kind of just understand, okay, I kind of feel like this item is going to go the best, and you're never really going to get that as a support. But the issue is, obviously, sometimes you can do something like that, and the cores don't communicate with each other, get like double Orchid in a situation like that.
I mean, that was 15% when we go back to the board.
It's like odd. It's something that you'll bring up after the game.
Yeah.
You'll say,
yeah, why do we do that?
I think it's very important that the core players, in order to make the right item decisions, the game plan just needs to be defined. Like, you need to know what your goals are in the game, and
like
then
who we're focusing, who we want to kill.
Who are we focusing? What's our timing window? When are we pushing towers? Okay, if we're pushing towers minute 15, maybe Orchid isn't the best item, right? For example.
Yeah, the other point is like maybe you would actually, as a captain, you will actually more let the core players decide if it's not a team-based item. If the item you're deciding it's like a mech, type or Crimson or whatever, like all the team-based item, you would actually try and convince your, or just straight up tell him, you are getting this item, we're gonna push. But if it's an item like BKB or MKB or whatever, it's based on his own comfort zone, like what he wants.
Good point.
That's really interesting. I never kind of, you know, I don't have the insight. Obviously, I haven't been a professional Dota player. But anyway, so back to the draft.
You played at a DreamHack Valencia?
Oh yeah, I came fourth at DreamHack Valencia, and I played an all-star match where I actually went like 36-2, and then the Ice Frogs started spawning Roshans. and ruined it. So on Dota Buff, I've got 1 game, 1 loss, but a KDA of like 18. So, and I played for Alliance apparently in that match. Okay, yeah, so back to the draft. Vengeful Spirit, this is something that I think a lot of people in the compendium, and you guys were saying, was like, this is going to be the most picked.
Yeah, it's good versus Void as well. Like, a hero that can actually save your carry if you get caught in the chrono. And the other thing, the hero is good in the early phase is because he's very versatile. You have no idea whether it's a core or support. You can always switch up.
Shows the secret show a lot of confidence.
Core now.
Can be.
It can be a...
I don't think it's an envy hero.
Oh yeah, I forgot you actually didn't keep up.
There was a phase of about 2 or 3 weeks when it was almost exclusively played as a safe lane carry, and it was really good.
Really?
But then teams started drafting against it and figured out how to deal with it.
How did they beat Vengeful Spirit Core?
I'm actually, what was the exact shift? That's a good question. It might have been the patch a bit.
Because of the stats, Venge got really good stats, and he is very, like, you consider Venge a carry that's very fast tempo. It's easy to help your team with aura. You play around objectives, and you're very good at fighting and zoning off the off lane yourself because you have really good stats and armor.
I think the way people started dealing with it was either that they got like really high range carries so Venge can't reach, or well, if you swap you put yourself a bit out of position, or you just had heroes that could actually fight one-on-one. So even if you come in close,
it's hard to fight one-on-one with Venge if you think about it.
There are some heroes
like at the summit we saw PL you're losing as PL against Venge carry. Okay, the Venge got Maelstrom and Mjolnir, and it's difficult for the PL to fight against the Venge because Venge has such good stats in late game.
Invoker is a hero that I thought both teams would really heavily contest. I know Shiki's been playing it quite a bit in pubs and stuff. The last like 10 games I saw, he was just spamming Invoker, and it's a hero that Weehawk carried over. It kind of feels like it's still one of the heroes that he can semi/hard carry with, which is this type of player that he is. But it's also a really good tempo controller for both sides.
Do you like Weehawk on Invoker then?
I do a lot. I think he's a good player.
It's like
I mean, how would you kind of classify his Invoker play in terms of what makes him? Why am I gonna care?
It's like farm heavy, and you don't want to deal with it late game.
Okay.
I think he does 2 things. Like he does tempo control well, and he carries the team in late game. Like he gets ahead enough that he can actually do a lot.
Farms.
Do you think CDEC are kind of aware of these? Because you guys obviously commentate all the tournaments.
You know, if you look at like James, if you look at the draft, like how CDEC is drafting right now, like I don't think they really care about what heroes they're playing. They're just very content in like drafting they want Secret to play very standard. If you look at their bans in the second phase, they're banning out Ursa.
Like weird stuff.
They are banning out Blue. Like those stuff are like cheesy stuff. So it tells you that this team is not afraid to play against their opponent with stable draft. They're worried about losing if the team does something unusual or might catch you.
So they want to play the game, not the team.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this game is going to be really hard for CDC already. I think they're more, like, in first game I said I favored CDC's draft. I think this game they're just flat out outpicked right now. They have to find a very good solution to this. Secret's team fight is almost impossible to beat. Tide Enigma gets a fast mech, Tide obviously has Ravage. You have Invoker in combination with all that and a defensive support in Venge.
10 seconds.
I think you have to try to avoid it. Either, if I'm CDC now, I try to just run over the lanes and take advantage of the fact that there's an Enigma jungle. So I play like super active with Ench Rubik just smoking 3 times in the early game trying to win the lanes, or I play hardcore split push with, because 5-manning just flat out won't work.
Yeah, that's basically a better idea against the Void, because Void mostly just wants to team fight with you, and having a lot of team fight, especially with the Tide, I think because when I play Void, the hero that I dislike playing against the most is Tide, because he has a bigger AoE, and if you make the first move and you don't kill the Tide, it's also a problem. Or if you don't catch the Tide catches your teammates, it's also a problem. So it's very hard for Void to feel confident that I'm going to jump in and make the first move, because you have too many stuff you need to think behind your mind.
Razor pick up here as well. I mean, this is something that's gonna Razor's gonna last a long time, and
they're playing lanes.
They want to win their lanes, and it's really good versus Tide.
It's the only way to go now.
You have to, if you win your laning phase, because Invoker has a build-up time. Like before he gets levels, and he can just invoke and do whatever he wants in the fights once he grabs his Ags and stuff. You can abuse him and just run it down. Because most of the time he's going to have like Forge Spirits invoked up, and he's not going to be able to.
So you think the Razor is going to be up against the it's like 1v1 mid again in a safe lane this game?
I think it's going to be. I guess you have to kind of put him safe. It does pretty well against a Tidehunter. Like he can zone out 101.
There's other heroes. They could pick like an OD or something for the safe lane as well. So.
But I just think you need to prioritize lanes like crazy. and make it so that your laning
5
phase is strong enough that
remaining.
you can just get into these individual fights.
Matchup would you prefer versus Invoker? Like, what matchup do you think that
Reserve time.
Invoker struggles the most with?
OD is really good.
How about TA? Like, TA is quite
TA
common.
is pretty good. I just think TA's base breaking is kind of weird.
I think the
Like-
worst
10
matchup for Invoker is
seconds
Brood, but that's banned. Yeah, that stomps him in lane. That's actually the only hero I can think of that
5
just flat out
seconds
destroys
remaining.
Invoker. There's no other hero that beats him.
Team Secrets turn
Oh.
to pick.
Roshan
CDEC,
control.
turn
Lane,
to
they have
pick.
good lane as well.
Yeah.
Like, Klinks is also quite good at dealing with the Void.
Eat and then creep.
It's the original Envy hero too.
Is things still get rich fast? You know, still looking for a BKB because Enchantress will just fall off. Things can get a BKB after its first damage item or something.
Impetus
That-
pierces BKB now, actually, if that's what you mean.
No,
I think you
but
mean
I
that
like,
the
actually
untouched-
Klink kills.
Oh,
Yeah.
kill,
10
killing
seconds
her. Yeah,
remaining.
that's true.
Yeah, but don't you still have enough
You have enough
attack
attack
speed
speed
from
from
straight?
You have
With
you have
straight,
Invoker
straight
spell
plus
damage as
threads, you're
well.
pretty good. Yeah.
You got like Soul Ring Deso and you two-shot the Ruvik and
Yep.
now he can't steal
So
spells.
this is
Reserve
really
time.
difficult last pick for CDEC. Like,
He could consider Orchid on Clark.
oh, this is all out on the lanes. Like, they need to win their lanes, basically.
Yeah.
It's like last game, except they don't have the big team fight to back it up. And last game, they showed that they don't necessarily win lanes when they can, because they had the Enchantress, they had the ability to pressure and disrupt the secret lanes, but they didn't do it. So I kind of worry for CDC this game because of that. Looking at how last game's lanes went.
So if you're in Team Secret, you're Puppy, what are you telling to your team that you need to do?
Just play safe. Just don't give up. Try to avoid giving up silly kills in the lanes. You've got the greed factor on your side. You're running a jungle Enigma. You just need to play just
Safe.
very, very safe, controlled Dota.
Everyone else, you kind of very
Look out
agree?
for smokes.
I think
Keep an eye on the
CDC needs
rotation.
to be the team that is making, like, pressure, feeling the pressure that they need to be the white pieces in chess. They need to make the plays. They need to do
10
something.
seconds
Otherwise, the game
remaining.
is just gonna fall.
Do you think they have the players for it with the lineup? I mean, the
They have
lineup.
the heroes for it.
They have the
Enchantress.
heroes for it. What about the play style of the players? Who do you think is going to be the player for CDC?
The captain,
Huh?
the Enchantress, kill the Enchantress player.
Okay.
He's
Prepare
important.
for
Well, keep
battle.
an eye on the Enchantress then if you are rooting for CDEC to take this one. And we're going to go over to the commentators for Game 2 of Secret versus CDEC.
Indeed, thanks very much, James. We're here with Game 2, CDC versus Secrets. Myself, Eddie Pixel, and Draskell, and wow, what a draft we've had coming out from both sides. Both of the teams resting their kind of putting their eggs in the basket of the Invis carries, getting the Klinks and the Weaver on the map. Draskell, talk to me about these drafts. What are you looking forward to seeing this game?
I think the panel summed it up pretty well. It's basically a CDEC. They want to try to do as much as they can during the
30
early game.
seconds
It's
to
kind of the
battle.
mirror of last game. So Secret didn't really have great team fight, but they had strong lanes, had the ability to kind of snowball. And CDEC are pretty much in those shoes this game. They have Chronosphere, which is still good team fight utility, but they don't have near the AoE lockdown. Like, you're dealing with Ravage, Black Hole, and Boker combo as well. I'm assuming that Wee's going to be going Exort this game. And not to mention, I think the Void is also going to have a much, much harder time than he did in Game 1. Blinks is phenomenal against any melee hero. And Time Walk, to get the maximum use out of it, you want to be harassed in like big burst damage, you know? You want to take like half your health and damage in like 2 seconds, then Time Walk it off. But we'll see what he's able to get done here. And see how the lanes shape up too. Looks like XC's actually heading towards mid right now, an aggressive tri-lane with the Weaver, Bench, and Rubik. So probably just going to grab the large creep by the off lane, and then just try to get what they can out of this aggro lane.
And so that's going to leave on this bottom lane that matchup that we're talking about. The Razor versus Tidehunter.
Is an awful lane for Tide.
I was going to say, Shiki's going to be alright with this.
Yeah, the Tide cannot really do anything here.
See how much misery can find. And of course, Puppy on his signature hero, a fan favorite. A lot of people are going to be very excited to see him coming out again on this one, the Enigma. Teamfight's certainly going to be there. The pushing power as well from Puppy once he starts coming to the lane with the Eidolons also. But that is, of course, going to leave Envy in this lane and having to deal with this tri-lane of sorts that's coming out from the side of CDC. He has got the backup of Pylite Die. I mean, do you expect Envy to still find decent farm here, or is he going to have a lot of trouble?
Oh yeah, he'll be able to farm. It's just a matter of, are CDC going to go for the early tower? Are they going to carry detection like Dust early on so they can actually go for the dive? Looks like a Garter actually has some on him, so there is potential to go for that kill. And they just need to be aware of it. Like, if Envy sees the fact that the Rubik is carrying Dust, he needs to play very, very passive because they can't kill him.
At the moment, Q just coming in to disrupt the pull here from Pylai Die. The small camp, and Garda and Q should be able to do the best to keep a bit of control on it. Envy's coming in as well, just to sap in some of the XP. And in a game like this, what point do you expect to see Puppy start to make these rotations and start to leave the jungle and enter into a lane?
I think he is more content to just farm until he gets at least level 6, because if you just get the jungle to yourself, like no one's touching you, you can get 6 so fast. Like 5 minutes even, you could be level 6 if you get farm. So with that being said, he goes top. Really good Malefice done into a black hole. That should be at least 1 or 2 kills going the way of Secret, and as it stands right now, he's even going to be able to secure himself a top rune for the team. A little bit of a misplay by CDEC, and they even had vision in that area, so they knew when he was going to be rotating down, but they don't get the rune. They're kind of going to be experience starved as well if they don't play this a little bit more carefully.
Puppy coming in with his army of Eidolons. Garda and Q eyeing this up. Aggressive is moving in.
I got the D ward too. That's really nice.
And again, with this aggressive trial, do you think we'll see Garda and Q kind of try and make the journey into the jungle? I mean, at the same time, can the two of them...
It's too hard. Like, with the support sitting here,
yeah.
Oh, they're gonna
dust. Yeah, they could try and go for this one. Aggressive, ready to move in. They'll be away from Terrified Die. Now, actually get a magic missile onto Aggressive Envy. Trying to go for the kill, but the stun is there from the center. Q with the control will find themselves the first blow. Q will pay with his life, but it looks like they're going to find a second one here. CDEC Pylai Die will pop the Fairy Fire. It's not enough. 2 for 1 on the top lane. And that's exactly what this aggressive trial needs to be finding.
It was just a little bit over aggressive there by Envy. Like, he tried to go for the Weaver because I think Pilot Die was too far away to throw out the magic missile during Shikuchi, and he knew the tower aggro was going to be on him. But the thing is, since the stun came late, he was out of tower attack range, which means that there was no way that counter kill was ever going to go down. And because he stayed a little bit too long, he got stunned by Centaur.
And so far, kind of eyeing up the last hits on the board. Bottom lane, Shiki. And she's front of a 15 for 8, and as we can see at the moment, once again.
Like right here, the tower is going to switch. Actually, I didn't end up hitting him at all. I actually just ended up hitting up the Ench instead. So maybe he thought it was going to switch and he just wanted to go for it because there was such a large gap. But yeah, either way, it didn't work out. But 2 deaths is bad. They did end up trading in the end. Still farming like a madman. Like, he's got 30 CS. He is just a beast right now. He's almost level 6 and it's like 4 minutes into the game.
He's ready for this puppy. He is ready to try and look for some of the action. Still though, cute, hanging around here, trying to annoy Pylai Die and disrupts the lane control that he's trying to achieve here for Envy. And Envy talking about the man, what's he doing? He's not where he should be. Aggressive and Garda finding the kill. Puppy will pop down the Malefice onto Aggressive, and I think he's going to be lucky that Aggressive is out of mana, so can't really look to commit anymore with more Shikuchis. But Envy just caught on the wrong side of the tree line there, and weren't they close enough to help him out that time.
Seems like he's underestimating his kill potential on this lane. If you get dusted and you don't have boots, you're not getting away. Like, even with Skeleton Walk, he only has 333 movement speed, and then obviously you lose movement speed off of that when you get dusted. So there's no way you're outrunning a Weaver. You get stunned one time, that's just it. Like, Venge can't really stop like all 3 of those heroes simultaneously. So instead they're just gonna rotate here. Might get Shiki.
This would be a good kill to get if they can, but Shiki looking to be too speedy. And at the end of the day, this is kind of wasted time here for Envy, and he really is suffering. 9 last hits at the moment, 5 minutes in, and at the same time, top lane, Venge. Pylai Die gets a cheeky one onto Q. So Secret able to find themselves a kill, someone on the board, but this Clinks, it is going to become an issue if they aren't able to find Envy some space soon.
Oh, puppy. Bye, friends.
And another one there for CDEC, and Aggressive, he's looking for Pylai Die. Moves in with a Shikuchi. High. Gonna head himself back behind the tier 1, will be okay.
The Weaver pick is actually working out so well for them. There's not really many heroes in the early game who can do what Aggressive is doing on this hero. Like, just being able to dive towers effortlessly, realizing that there's only really one hard disable during the early game that you have to worry about. This is kind of a Weaver's dream.
Well, this mid lane matchup as well. 27 for 5, 27 for 9, bang on with each other here, the Void and the Invoker. Interesting to see how much we can do. Obviously, we took the fact that Invoker did have that change with Deafening Blast, but you think the way that Secret are going to be playing this game, that's not really going to be a huge issue, and he's going to look elsewhere. For
I think it's more about the ultimates that they land. Like, if Be in Misery can get like a good Black Hole, good Ravage, things like that. The Deafening Blast nerf, you won't really feel it because the hero's just going to die. So it's going to be down to the ult usage. And as far as that goes, the Rubik on CDEC, like Garter, he has a lot of stuff that he can potentially steal, but it's also very stressful to play against 2 really big ultimates like that. to be like, okay, well I have to steal at least one. If I mess up, I'm dead. Because the Clink is pretty much going to go for him every time, and Invoker could pretty much do the same thing.
And we saw from the side CDEC, a couple of them heading to the mid lane, trying to see if they can find anything. We just playing it safe, backing up to that side camp by the Ancients. And that's going to mean that Garda unable to find anything here with this smoke usage. Still though, XE getting a lot of farm here in this mid lane on the Void. CDEC are going to be very happy with. Envy has now a little bit of space up on the top, but it's still an incredibly painful slow start here in terms of the farm here for this Clinks, and still struggling to find that level 6 here.
Yeah, and I think the struggle for Envy is reflected by those stats. That is, it's actually horrible, like having this start. He almost has, like, much CS as the Enchantress, who wasn't even really farming in the lane. Like, he was just kind of chilling up there, helping go for dives. And he has less CS than that. Okay, bottom lane, Misery.
Okay, in comes the Chrono. XE trying to do what he can to stall a fair bit. Misery, he'll turn around with the Ravage. Puppey moving forward. Are they going to try for this? They will. They'll use the black hole. Getting them out and getting the 2 kills, keeping themselves alive. Aggressive has come in with a rotation. See if you can find anything on the cleanup here. Misery will be able to wall this off. A little bit too tanky for the Weaver to do anything against the Tide at this point. But there's your Ravage, there's your black hole, and there's your potential turnaround in the laning stage.
They needed that big time, especially with the 2 kills that they actually get. They walk away with a Void and a Razor kill on top of that. Like here, they were kind of fighting into no vision. They had a ward near where the little ramp goes to the bottom rune, but during this team fight, they had no idea what they were walking into. And unfortunately for that, they end up paying the price. So, nice comeback here, buys a little time for Envy to get himself back on his feet. He's level 6. But at the very least, now he has Death Pact. It's going to be a lot harder to really chase him down and actually get those kills. And I'm also curious, I guess Wee is just going for the standard, he's still going for the Midas. I don't know if he's going to go for Book or if he wants to go the Yule's route. I think Yule's is really good against Void, although... Oh wait, it's actually way worse now, isn't it? Because you can just time walk out of it. That actually makes it really bad. Okay, so maybe you can only really kill like the Rubik, Ench, and Weaver. Those are going to be your main targets.
Well, CDEC now, they've kind of settled with the lanes the other way around. They've brought aggressive down here onto the bottom. They want to try and get him at the top of the farm game. We saw how much he can do with that. In game 1 on his Sven, kept himself at the top of the board in terms of value, and this game he's going to try his best to get up there. We'll be competing with this Wee High Invoker that's at the top, and as you said now with the Midas, he's going to be able to start to work up his own net value. Secret hanging around at the bottom, ready to see if anyone on the side of CDEC does jump out. Garda just throwing out a return gush there onto Misery. Because the fact that they've got 3 heroes down here, it is going to give this some space still to Envy, so Envy slowly climbing himself back up that board. And he has now got his brown boots.
I do believe that Misery overall has done way better in his lane than I was expecting. Like, if you just compare the overall CS, sure, Razor has more denies. This isn't a crush by any means. This is, like, pretty darn close, all things considered. So, if you look at the way the Envy's lane started, he's already caught up pretty much to where the Razor is right now. So I think, all things considered, even though it looked like top was pretty much a disaster and Envy probably didn't have to die 2 times, they're still making a very solid recovery. And I think that CDEC still need to be very, very cautious to actually get something done here as well. They do have the Rubik level 6, and I think they're probably waiting on Q to get level 6 because he doesn't have impetus just yet. But once those tools are available, it makes Chronosphere really strong again.
Back on the side of Secret, we see Puppey. He has got that mech done. And Black Hole will be back up in just over 30 seconds, and that was it. With the combo from the Ravage, we saw once how potent it can be against CDEC's lineup when they try and go for these aggressive plays. Maybe see the side of Secret look for another fight. Envy this game with the kind of Sorin picked up. Do you think we are going to see the Deso? Is there any reason why I might go Orchid first this game?
Orchid's actually decent against heroes like Void and Weaver because it locks them down enough to the point where you can kill them if they're not ready. Like, that's the one benefit to it. But I think Deso is just so much better for pushing and overall just damage output. Say, for instance, we talked about how they need to land their ultimates properly to win a fight. If those ultimates land, Desolator is infinitely better because of how much more damage you actually do during the lockdown. So you can just guarantee, like, blow up, 3 or 4 heroes.
There we have it, bottom lane. This could be a bit of a repeat. They've got the 2 ults online. We'll see if they can catch out aggressive. It's going to be a hard kill, but they have got the stun locks with the Ravage, the magic missile, and if they commit the black hole, should be enough to find it. Aggressive playing very safely. I like Die, he has got the swap and he's going to find it. Just bring it back, Sentry's drop. Has they got the stun lock, the magic missile, no black hole!
Was just the tip for sure. That was insane. I thought he was gonna miss. I saw his arms go out. I was like, oh god, he's gonna miss, but just barely caught it out. And
he's got big arms, Puppy. He's got huge arms.
Just look at how close this is.
Look
like,
at that.
He is not even in the animation. He gets hit by it. That's got to be a little bit tilting. The weird part about that too is he actually had a ward, so I think he saw Pylai and Puppy walking into the side, but he still decided to around maybe a little bit too long. But nice sentry placement by Pi to allow him to get the swap off as well. But that means Black Hole down for tier 1. Secret are going to be happy with that trade. And they are just soaking up farm everywhere. You can see CDEC, they're kind of running around trying to figure out what they can do. And with one ultimate on cooldown, this is probably one of the better opportunities they're going to have.
If they can indeed find anything here. Gums now done on Misery's Tide. Dreads as well on the bench. Shiki is going to spot out Misery in the jungle, but the rest of the team still committed to that push up top. They're not going to be able to do anything against the Tide Hunter. In fact, it's going to be Secret going for Roshan. For the forward experience, the Islands as well. They've got a good lineup for taking this down fairly quickly.
There's no way they're reacting to this way too fast.
Easy ages here for the boys. Well, Shiki, he's going to put up in. Some of Misery's damage and does have the Rupert about, but Misery just backs up to tier 1. They'll get the Roshan and Aegis now onto Weeha. And this game is certainly looking up a little bit more than game 1 was for Secret at this point.
They're looking really good. CDEC still need time before they can try to contest fights. A lot of it is dependent on, obviously, if Secret want to use Black Hole and Ravage during the same fight, they absolutely need to win that fight. If for whatever reason there's some like execution error and CDEC walk away with a team fight win, that's game changing. And the other thing too is, what can Garter actually steal from his engagements? Can he get a Black Hole? Can he get a Ravage? Positioning on that hero and what he can steal from a team fight is also going to be hugely important for them.
Alright, up XZ here. Misery has got the Ravage, he's got backup as well. If they can get the range for the swap at XZ, Time Walk just comes back off.
I don't think they can kill him. I don't even think chasing him is worth it at this point.
Alright, at this point, I mean, a lot of this down to Puppy really, it feels. The first 2 Black Holes of the game have been absolutely huge.
Farmed. Look at him, man.
It's Puppy Enigma. It's
got Greaves and it's like 13 minutes in. Actually, I don't know if he goes Greaves this game. I think he might just go back for something what he did last game, like maybe go Vlad's or like full Aura build or BKB. Although BKB is not super good this game. Still get spell stolen from and you can still get sphered, so BKB is not like amazing.
I'm interested to see what he does, and interested to see if as well. Oh, they have found XZ there with the Wave of Terror, but they can't get the swap off there. Fine. Self out with the TP. I'm just on my screen at the moment. I've just got it double clicked on Puppy. We're 20 seconds away from that Black Hole. We saw him go straight for the action as he came off cooldown last time and got the Greaves out in the smoke. He's ready to do it again, Puppy. He's going to be looking for these plays as soon as that ultimate comes back online. The Ravage has still been held onto by Misery, so that's there ready and waiting. Question of who Puppy can find and catch out. He heads towards the mid lane and came up with Pine.
I feel CDEC's cores have this really awkward timing where anywhere from like the 15 to 25 minute mark, they're not actually as strong as they are in lanes, and they have this kind of downtime where they need 1 or 2 items. Like take the Weaver for example. This tower is getting pushed in right now by Secret. What is a Weaver with a Perseverance going to do against this? Like the laning phase for him went about as good as you could have asked it to. They were tower diving, they killed Envy 2 times, more times than he's like ever died in Clinks in the first 10 minutes according to the stats. And they still can't really contribute to the team fight. Like Razor is not good against 5-man and neither is Weaver. I think they really needed to get way more than they did in the circumstances, and the fact that Misery didn't really lose his lane that hard to Shiki also puts them in a position where he has more than maybe he should have. So even with CDEC having the good top lane, everywhere else was kind of just mediocre. And right now it feels like they are more than on the back foot. They don't even want to fight. XZ just teleports away. He's like, yeah, we're not doing anything here.
And it certainly seems that Secret are much more comfortable with kind of the playstyle that they're going for this game. And Galambi's Clink stepping it up here. 1k above the medallion. We'll see what he does decide to go for next. Mid lane, they're close to taking another tower here. Secret weak. Pylai been in to try and finish this one off. He's going to look for the deny here. Is he going to get it? Laxi comes out. Now they're already going to be forcing back the side of CDC. Garter taking a lot of damage there from the Clinks. So Weeha will pick up the tower. That's going to be the Yule's done now here on the man. And as you said, this is really feeling like a lot of the momentum this game is all behind the side of Secret.
They just don't have an answer for the 5-man. It is very reminiscent of game 1, except I feel like Secret dealt better with 5-man than CDEC are dealing with it right now. And I think a lot of that also has to do with their heroes. Like last game, they had some way of taking fights. You know, they had high burst damage, they had heroes who could contribute in a 5 versus 5. Weaver and Rubik, even to a certain extent, Razor, these heroes kind of need a front line or somebody to actually lock down for them to really feel useful in a 5v5. And all they have is one sphere. So that sphere is not like absolutely perfect, like cancels a black hole and hits 3 or 4 heroes. The team fight is just so difficult for them.
I can see the moment we just hug into space up top. There's a void around. The rest of Secret towards the bottom. And on top comes aggressive as well. Weeheart is on his own here.
He's got Aegis though. If they go for him, there's gonna be time.
Yeah.
Be a lot of time for Secret to react.
And of course on neither of these heroes. They actually have a cat, but talking about Cat Secret got it. They're straight on Shiki, Magic Missile, the Sunstrike there, ready to dig the grave. Top lane, they have got him with the Chronosphere onto Weehaw. Do they have damage? He'll use himself up here. Weehaw, can he manage to get himself out of this one? No. He's going to go down once here. Aegis has been popped now. Garda turning up as well. Has the telekinesis ready to go. Just as ready and waiting as well. Weehaw won't be able to escape this one as the dust will be popped up. Take the kill onto the Invoker. So it will be a 1-for-1 trade across the board there. But arguably the more important one there for CDEC. Secret though, they will get themselves an objective as well, and that's a tier 2 down on the bottom right.
Yeah, this is a very hard push to stop actually, and I think that CDEC are probably going to have to go back. Can't even really get the tower here. They have tons of time.
And how do you defend against it? You're defending against a push that's still got a Ravage and still got the Black Hole. It's not going to be the easiest of defenses here for CDEC unless Secret chooses to just play it safely, which it looks like they're going to the point.
They have 2 towers top, so they can go clean up the offlane towers for free. And I don't really think that CDEC ever want to try to contest that. They're just going to make sure that there's nothing that's going to be taken away from them outside of just the fact that we died, which again, if I trade a tier 2 safe lane for a death, even on a core, I think that's fine. Given the circumstances, CDEC don't have a choice though. They have to make those trades because they just can't win the 5v5. They needed to wait for Secret to maybe overextend when they're trying to push into the tier 3, or potentially get a pick and then try to take the next Roshan. Those are best feasible options that they have at the stage.
Lincoln's is now done on the Weaver, but CDEC, they're going to still certainly have to wait for any kind of major physical damage output to come out from the side. And Lincoln's Sphere, we already talked about it, the team fight, the kind of AoE control. Secret have got a lot of things to work around that can still kill the Weaver. That Lincoln's isn't necessarily going to be a huge saving grace for him.
Well, it's nice because it's the Invoker combo. Like, that's one way you could maybe die in Weaver, although I guess you can still time lapse too, right? Because the deafening doesn't really stop you from casting anymore.
With the change.
So, and actually, it's just really bad against Void and Weaver now. But it's an interesting game because CDEC's lanes were actually very strong, but they didn't perform, I think, up to the standards that their lineup necessitated. They needed to do better.
Oh, MV. He is out here. There's aggressive Garda stepping in as well, and Garda does have dust, but MV's going to be a little bit too speedy. Get himself out of this one and back to safety. And MV really stockpiling up the gold now. We see him now on 3.1k.
He might
the question is, what's he buying out, right? Is it the Dessa, yeah?
It helps them high ground. I think that's the next logical step. It's also good against Roshan. They have mass minus armor like Wave of Terror, Medallion, Deso. All that stuff just makes you melt through heroes like Razor. Even Void can just die in a couple of hits. In that sense, I actually think Clinks is better against Void than he used to be, because Backtrack used to save Void periodically, but now if you just get hit by one disable and you have Clinks on you, you just die before you can really do anything. So, the nice bit of synergy they have going. They're gonna spot XC. He's got a Blink Dagger. Their follow-up for the Sphere is just so lackluster, though. What do they drop into a Sphere? It's like Enchantress auto attacks. You get like a Static Link and a Plasma Field, and that's about it.
No, it certainly doesn't have the same synergy as they had in the team fights in the first game. CDEC.
Oh, last game they had just insane amounts of damage.
We saw some great combos in the first game.
Yeah, but there's the Crimson and the Deso coming out.
Big items.
This is the I want to end the game in the next 5 minutes build from Puppy. Crimson Greaves. You take almost no physical damage, and the sad thing for CDEC is they don't have any magical burst. So most of their team damage is built around physical.
We're going to see CDEC group up here for a little bit of a fight, but at the same time, will be ready for it. Puppy, Misery on the sideline. Now they're going to jump in X to get the point out, but there's a Ravage! Onto them on the back! CDEC and Secret were just ready and waiting, and again Poppy with another flawless black hole.
That was insane. Well, the Ravage set him up, to be fair. That was, I think, all misery. And the fact XE, he missed Puppy by so little. I would definitely like to watch this again, yeah.
He's been caught out. The Yulz was there in time. We just see it at the bottom right at the same time. We've got to see this replay because it's beautiful.
He barely missed. Like, Puppy was so close to that. If he hits that black hole, or hits the sphere, the black hole never comes out, and maybe CDEC have a chance to at least cut their losses and get out of there, but...
Oh, look at this. There's a replay after replay. Oh! Replay and set.
Are we going to get the triple replay?
Can we have it again? No,
nope, we can't have it.
We can't.
It's okay.
No, we're going to get that $6 million tournament. But anyway, 10 for 5 at the moment. Secret having a lot better luck, a lot better display of skill here in game 2, and what a display it has been as well with this Puppy Enigma. He's going to pick himself up a gem as well, so the life for this Weaver is going to get even harder.
Top lane.
Oh, hello. Are they going to be able to get this here? Shiki, yes they are. Wait, the solo pickoff there.
Yeah, our server's drunk. No big deal.
Invoker. They thought he nerfed him, but...
Not quite enough.
Doesn't need that. He doesn't need that. He's got a fair few other spells.
Like, it was a Yulz actually into Ice Wall, Forge Spirit, Alacrity, instead of going for like the Meteor Tornado, or Sunstrike Meteor. It was very nice. But Roshan's available.
And that part, even just having Pi with the Vlads as well.
They have everything.
They've got so, at least Roche.
They have drums. I think they
let
do,
down
right?
less than 10.
Yeah, the Invoker has drums.
Invoker.
So they have every aura item that they need, and that side has drums.
They've even got the double drum.
They don't even need pipe this. No magic damage. Like, you're gonna pipe Fade Bolt and Plasma Field. There you go. So the biggest magical damage that CDEC put together here. And I think there is also something to be said for having team compositions that have only one type of damage. You know, if you only physical damage, it's very easy to itemize against. And I think that's kind of what CDEC have here. Although if their lanes went better, it might not have mattered as much, because Enchantress is like one of the few heroes who kind of needs, again, that front line or a good spear to be able to really deal damage. But if you're relying on other people to help out, you're up against like Crimson Guard and Greaves at 23 minutes in with drums and Vlads. You're just not going to
Misery might be walking into this one. CDEC did smoke up, and Misery has been caught out. Can they actually kill him? He's a bit of a tanky brute here. He's going to be able to walk this one off by the looks of it. Secret are this back mode. XE jumps in, gets the Chrono onto Misery and Power Tap, but they just can't kill this time. The Greaves are there from Puppy. They'll turn to Pi. Out comes the Ravage now. Sheki's popped the BKB, but he's already lost 3 of his friends. Only 2 left alive on CDEC. Aggressive, popping the time lapse. The Yulz are able to control Envy, cleaning up the back lines. And now Aggressive's going to go down as well. This time in this game, the Team White's going the way of Secret. They only lose Pylai die, but it's in his name, it's his job, he's Avenger at the end of the day. What a fight for Secret, and they didn't even need the black hole. They didn't even need it. Now Puppy says, I've got it guys, what's going on? It's already over. They didn't need it. CDEC just get him BTFO'd.
It was the worst target to go on. I mean, they saw an opportunity and they're like, alright, we need to try to go for this kill. We need to make something happen. But unfortunately, of all the heroes to catch out, it was Misery. And he gets into the middle of the team. They throw out a spear and XE's like, I do literally no damage. Let's just kill Pylai die. But the problem with killing him is that everyone on this team does way less damage. So now you can't kill the Tide at all because you just lost 36% of your base damage. In the meantime, Envy was just in the backline killing everyone with the Desolator that he had. And there's just not really much that CDEC could do about that. They just say GG.
Alright. What is this? TI4 finals. GG is called, and we're going to game 3, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. Secret have done it. I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping for some more black hole action, but that was nice to see after a game 1 where Secret didn't really look quite all there. It's good to see that we're going to have an even matchup in game 3. I mean, both teams are certainly warmed up now, and going from both games, it's hard to call who's going to be able to take it. This is going to be quite a series, Andy.
Yeah, I can't wait for game 3. I'm ready.
We're ready, and the speed they want to show up to the panel, we're probably going to go over there straight away. So game 3, we'll be back with me and Andy.